Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back, and we got a special guest today at the bottom.
Finally.
At the bottom, Miss Vashti Hurt.
Hey guys,
Round of applause.
thanks for having me.
Thank you for finally showing up. Thank you so
Yeah, I
much. We
got the link
appreciate it.
late because of
Thank you for showing
Jamal.
up. We
But
appreciate
okay.
it.
I totally believe you. Jamal be late to his own funeral if you let him.
I know he will be. And then try to blame it on me, but that's okay. What's in that cup, Jamal?
Oh man, just some special little sauce. That's all.
Okay.
Tea with some Hennessy.
Yeah,
Hennessy.
possibly.
Vashti, how was your week?
Busy. Oh goodness. Busy week. Going to training camp. I had a cousin who got married on Tuesday.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, awkward day to get married, but we were there nonetheless. And so yeah, it was a very busy week for me, but I made it through.
Gotcha. Kaza, how was your week?
Not too bad. Crazy with all the stuff going on in NBA free agency. I mean, just craziest offseason the Hornets have had in a while. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, you got that right. Jamal, not that we care, but how was your week?
I am week 2 with my first vaccination shot. I have yet to discover a chip in my body. I have no ill side effects just yet. I have no mutations. I have no other weird things going on. So it's been a good week.
You lying.
So you're a ward of the state now. You don't even realize.
Yeah. I'm property of the government now, I guess.
Jamal, what took you so long to get your shot?
Man, just I had questions. I want to do my own research. I wanted to.
Vashti, we give you the answer. We get the answer.
Yes.
You see how long it took you to get that link?
Okay, makes sense.
You see the positive correlation with it?
Okay, yeah. It makes sense.
All right, Jamal is frozen, so we're gonna
11:45.
The vaccine,
okay, all right.
is interfering with, causing electromagnetic interference with his internet connection. So
is that what it is?
That's what it is.
We'll
go with that.
Look, we're gonna get started, man. I want the scoop. If Vashti has the scoop, so Vashti, let us know your opinion on how training camp is going in Spartanburg right now.
It's finally ramping up. The first week was kind of boring. It was a lot like OTAs, a lot of position work. You had 7-on-7 and you had 11-on-11, no pads. And Coach Rule said, there was per the league mandate, they couldn't practice in pads for I think the first 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
And so last week, it was the first day in pads was on Tuesday. I wasn't there on Tuesday, but I was there Wednesday, Thursday, and then of course FanFest on Friday. But the level of competition is definitely ramped up.
Right.
Thursday was a practice dedicated basically exclusively to scrimmaging. So that was good to see and watch those guys basically just play football. And so, yeah, you have guys who are making plays. Shi Smith is having a good camp and also a good story. A guy who's from right outside of Spartanburg and Union, went to South Carolina, and now is playing for the Panthers. And it looks like he'll, in a loaded wide receiver room, he may find a spot on the roster with this team. So we'll see. And offenses looked the practice at Wofford on Saturday when they practiced, offense looked terrible. Darnold looked off. But this past week in red zone situations, the offense looked pretty efficient. And then just in general, offense looked better than what I expected. Darnold did. PJ Walker has had some moments. Will Grier is not looking good.
Oh, what a shock. I'm so shocked, man.
Will Grier, I mean, the Panthers will be hard pressed to find a reason to keep three quarterbacks on that roster with the way that Will Grier has been playing. It just has not been consistent. But when you trade up and you waste a third pick on a guy, third round pick, it's hard to kind of cut those ties. So who knows? Maybe they'll keep three quarterbacks on the roster, but Will Grier has not. He has not been consistent at all.
So Skip Bayless was wrong when he said Will Greer is probably the best quarterback prospect in his draft.
Skip Bayless being
Skip was
wrong about us.
wrong?
No, I can't believe anything like that, Rodney. This is the first question I wanted to ask you as soon as you got here. What were you there when this JT eBay guy?
I wasn't there.
You were not there.
Unfortunately, I was not there.
All right. So, but for anybody who doesn't know, some guy named JT eBay, apparently, hit Keith Kirkwood so hard that they had to take him out on the stretcher. He was cut immediately by Matt Rule and the Panthers. Did you get any feeling on why Matt Rule acted so swiftly when it came to that? Were you able to get anything from him?
I think it was more so a message. I think it was a guy who wasn't going to make the roster in the first place.
Yeah.
And so when you hit, and honestly, I did not see the hit. I saw a video of the hit, but it wasn't close up.
Right.
The players reacted in a way that would make you believe that the hit was not it was not good in practice, let alone like something that would probably garner a flag during a game. The video I saw looked like a guy who knew that he had to make a play or make an impression in order to make a roster. But Matt didn't really say much about it. He just basically said that, it was just a move that we made on our roster. But I feel like he was sending a message to guys. He has really been honing in on not making mistakes. I know you guys have heard of the DBO sign. Don't beat ourselves sign. So he doesn't want flags. He doesn't want false start penalties. If you miss an assignment, if you don't catch the ball, it bounces off your hands. And if you make a play like eBay made as far as targeting, I think those are things that he's trying to hone in on. And cutting him right after practice ended was a way to send a message to the guys on the team in general, like, we aren't going to tolerate these type of things that will penalize us during the game.
Okay, Vash, I have a question. So I've seen some things where Matt Rule has people running laps. What do you think about that?
Some people say it's kind of juvenile. These are grown men. These are professional players. I don't know. It may be a bit, huh?
It sounds like college stuff. Like he can't get rid of that college coach mentality.
That was always my question. Like, when you come into the league, these are grown men, and you have to cut some of those college type practices and adjust to coaching grown men. But the players now, instead of running the laps, they're doing this. You got to run to hit the "don't beat ourselves" sign. The first time we saw it was where Troy Pride made a play, or he made a bad play, and I could hear Matt Rule basically was like, get your ASS off the field, and if you don't want to get off, then you can leave. And we were like, you kicking him out of practice? No, he was telling him he had to go. They had implemented this "don't beat ourselves" sign, and he had to go touch the "don't beat ourselves" sign. Maybe it's a way to reinforce it. Will Greer didn't have a problem with it. Derek Brown said that he didn't have a problem with it. I think if we were to ask a guy like Robbie Anderson, he probably wouldn't be for it. So, some guys don't have a problem with it. Others,
Well, when you have a coach that's making more money than half the roster, probably thinks he can, get away with stuff like that. So there you have it.
Gotcha. So let me ask you a question about J.C. Horn. How has he looked out there? I mean, does he look like he's worth the number 8 pick that we made?
I mean, so far, yeah. If he can be a shutdown corner, he's young.
Ooh.
Cornerbacks, I would say they usually don't really come into their own until after maybe year 2.
Right.
But I do think that he'll be able to make an immediate impact on this team.
Oh, wow.
And he's a dog. He's a ball hawk, and he's an aggressive player. They have Rule, and Horn himself has said that they are going to have to figure out how to hone in and have a balance between being aggressive and not getting flags, because in a lot of those plays that he would have probably gotten flags for holding, other penalties like that. But I do think right now, number 8, I think he's going to be a good player. I think he's going to be a good player.
Let me ask you specifically, has Matt Rule said anything about him being the day one starter at this point?
I think he's been taking reps with the first team defense.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's him and gosh, why am I drawing a blank?
This is the one we picked up in free agency, right?
Yes.
I know you talking about. I can't think of the name.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look it up now. But they've been splitting reps, but JC does get a lot of burn with that first team defense.
Speaking of first team, I mean, how is Dante Jackson looking? Is he healthy? Is he making plays in camp, or is he regressing to you?
Dante looks like Dante.
Is he talking a lot in practice? I think that's it. I think if you see Dante Jackson chirping in practice, that's a good sign. Have you seen any of that?
When he makes plays, but I haven't seen a whole bunch of chirping. No, I haven't seen a whole bunch of chirping from Dante. And he says that he's healthy. He doesn't even want to. When we talked to him last week, there were a lot of questions about the toe. He doesn't even want to hear about a toe. This is a big year for him. It's a contract year for him. So yeah, I think that AJ Bouye, that's it. So at the beginning, Bouye was taking a lot of the first team reps, and now that they have pads on, we've been seeing more of JC Horn, them kind of splitting those first team reps on that side of the ball across from Dante Jackson. But yeah, I haven't seen a lot of chirping from Dante Jackson. I think he's trying to, I guess, I don't know. I'm reserving judgment on all these guys until we go to Indy this week.
Gotcha.
And see how they look up against another team.
Right.
Because it's so much that you can do in practice against guys who are on your squad. Matt Rule already made it clear that you can't make these physical plays in practice, with the cutting of that guy. So we'll see what kind of edge they have when they go up against the Colts this week, preseason and with these joint practices. But Dante looks decent, and he knows he'll brush it off, but he knows he has to have a good year this year, and we'll see whether he thrives under that type of pressure.
Gotcha. So who else has been kind of, in your opinion, like kind of standouts and disappointments on the defense to you?
I haven't. Somebody asked me about Christian Miller the other day. We know Christian Miller, he sat out last year due to COVID. I haven't really noticed him at all during training camp. So I guess that would kind of be a disappointment. I would expect to see him making more plays. He showed flashes in 2019.
Right.
So I haven't really heard his name called that much, and I haven't seen, and watching it with other media members, he hasn't really stood out. As far as defense, the guys who are good are going to be good. Derek Brown is, he hopes to make the leap this year. But he was drawing double teams last year. Hassan Reddick has made, I was looking at some video today. He's made some plays today. Apparently, I haven't really seen him do much either during camp where I would take notice and be like, whoa. But, honestly, I don't put too much stock in training camp MVPs and stuff like that because
we saw Curtis Samuel be the MVP every year he was here.
Right. And Curtis Samuel always lit up training camp, and we didn't really see much from him until this past season. But then also, he actually had the time to get the ball in his hand, and he wasn't battling injuries. So,
with that being said, we said what we said, but at the same time, I think especially with the draft class that we had, I think we're all extra interested in what these young guys do and what these draft picks are doing. Now, I don't want to read too much into this because I want to ask you about this. The Carolina Panthers sent out a tweet, and they're saying if you're wondering what jersey to snag next, then there's a picture of Tommy Trimble. Should we read into that as like he lighting it up in training camp, or is this kind of like, I don't know, the Panthers doing promo on one of the young guys?
Dan Arnold is lighting it up in training.
Dan Arnold, yep.
Wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Tommy Trimble is, I think they like his edge. He's a real, he's a Matt Rule type guy as far as, he wouldn't mind running the laps. He's going to go hard in practice. But everybody's talking about Dan Arnold. Dan Arnold and Darnold have a good connection. So, if I were buying a rookie jersey, it would either be a Horn jersey or a Marshall jersey.
That's about to ask you next.
Terrace?
Yeah,
Terrace is big. Let me tell you, when I looked at him, I think he's listed at 6'2". When I saw him on the field, this is outside of pads. I was like, Terrace looks big. Like, he does not look small. Mm-hmm. And when I was looking at his stats, when we asked him, he said he feels like he's 6'4", 220. Like, he is a big guy. He's confident. He's got that receiver swag, which I think is important because those skill positions, like, you got to have this, like, cockiness about you.
Right.
Yeah. You have to have it.
Those skill position guys, like those one-on-one battles, they're more magnified than any one-on-one battle on the field. You know what I mean? So those secondary guys versus those receivers is always the battles that I guess people kind of tune into. You know what I mean? So with that being said, man, anything that's stood out in that regard?
No, I mean, you see plays on both sides of the ball. And then also, there's some times where I've noticed that it would be a sack, but because it's practice, Darnold's able to release the ball and get it out there. You've seen plays on offense and defense when it comes to that. They've been working a lot in the red zone, which we know Teddy Bridgewater said that they didn't practice in the red zone during the season. Well, we've been seeing a lot of red zone action at training camp. But the one-on-ones, I wouldn't say that one is beating more, one side is dominating more than the other. We've seen plays on both sides of those balls when it comes to those one-on-ones.
Gotcha. And finally, I just want to ask you this. Yesterday at FanFest, it was the debut of the new turf, Bank of America Stadium. How, in your opinion, how did the players like it?
Chin said he loves turf. I mean, he played on turf in college. Christian is really not speaking too much on the turf. Christian is basically saying it is what it is. It's here. Like we're going to have to adjust to it. They did say that they weren't going full on, they weren't going 100% until they kind of got used to the field, the new turf. They had to figure out what kind of cleats they would have to wear. So nobody went full speed on that turf yet. But, you have guys who like it. Chin said he feels faster on turf. And you have guys like Christian McCaffrey who's being real PC about it. But I think that he has his concerns low key.
Man, let me tell you, that is not a good sign, man. I'm sorry. When your $1 zillion a year running back doesn't like, well, seemingly.
I didn't say he didn't like it.
Seemingly.
He just said, look, he was like Cam Newton when you asked him if he was vaccinated. That's a personal thing he doesn't want to talk about. So just move on.
Yeah, basically, Christian is like, it is what it is. But he hasn't.
We've heard that before. Yeah, we've definitely heard that saying before. Now, speaking of vaccinations, how prevalent has that conversation been in the locker room during training camp, as far as who is, who isn't, and all this stuff that's going on with vaccinations?
The first week, there were a lot of questions about it because it was kind of a carryover into what everybody was talking about in the league. We haven't asked about players being vaccinated since. If a player speaks to us and he doesn't have a mask on, then that player is vaccinated, basically, for the most part. Denzel Perryman is the only guy who has said, I'm not vaccinated. I'm not getting vaccinated. I don't, it's just, this is just my decision. But everybody else that we've talked to has been vaccinated. We know that the Panthers have one of the highest vaccination rates in the NFL. So yeah, it's not a topic of discussion right now. I do know that I'm drawing a blank, linebacker. He tweeted the other day, and Panthers linebacker. He tweeted, Jermaine Carter tweeted the other day about how they're going to Indianapolis. Indianapolis has one of the lowest vaccination rates in the league. And he expressed some concern about the fact that, and the NFL has since loosened those rules, but he can't hug his daughter after practice and everybody in his household is vaccinated, but they can travel to Indianapolis and practice against a team with one of the worst vaccination records in the league. So I think that's something that the Panthers are thinking about, that's been in the back of the players' minds, and I'm sure it's something that the coaches have to think about as they travel. But it's not going to stop the show. They're still going to go to Indy and they're still going to practice and they're going to still play in a preseason game.
Right. That's dope.
All right, I got a question. Have you seen anything that can indicate the relationship between Matt Rule and Sam Darnold? Because Matt Rule didn't have the best relationship with Teddy Bridgewater. And I know it was probably different from training camp than throughout the course of the season. But, are we going to run into another situation where Matt Rule is throwing Sam Darnold under the bus like he did Teddy Bridgewater? Although Teddy Bridgewater crawled under the bus himself a few of those times. What's that dynamic look like on the field so far?
I can't tell. I don't see them. I guess, and I hate to say this, and I hate to bring up this name, but he is going to forever live in Panthers lore. I don't see the type of relationship Cam had kind of with a Rivera. You would always see them off to the side talking. It seemed to be like a very more than a coach-player relationship. They were cool, I can't say that I see that between Darnold and Rule. I think that Darnold is still getting his footing, and I think that Matt Rule is still everybody's still gaining their footing. Darnold is in his first year. Rule is literally only in his second season, and the first season was COVID. So, I don't see where nothing sticks out where okay, I like the dynamic between these two. I can't say that I've seen that yet. But whenever he's asked about Darnold, he of course always says we have full confidence in him. He's doing a great job. But Matt Rule is the type of guy who has no problem with saying if the offense didn't look good and if things need to get better. So, I don't see anything chummy though. If that's what you're asking, I don't see that yet.
Of course I don't know this at all, and this is just kind of me speculating, man. But I kind of think Matt Rule is probably just doing this by design. I don't think he wants to be buddy with anybody just yet, because it sounds like he wants to be. We're about winning football games, and we're about business, and we don't have any friends right now. I mean, does that kind of sound accurate?
That's
in your
perfect,
opinion?
Jamal. That's really the perfect way to say it. I don't see him chummy with anybody. And I, like you said, it's probably by design. Maybe, if they have a better season, then he might loosen up a bit. Right. I wouldn't say that he's a rigid coach, but, he knows he needs to win. And David Tepper is David Tepper is an interesting guy.
That's an understatement.
He's an interesting guy, and it's like Big Brother is on your shoulder, and he knows that you're gonna have to show results, and he knows that, and so I don't think he's chummy with anybody at this point. They haven't done anything for him to be.
Have there been any Tepper sightings at training camp?
He was there on Thursday, the day that they did or Friday. Friday was when they did all that.
FanFest last night too,
Friday. Right? No, FanFest was on Friday. My bad. FanFest was on Friday. And Thursday when they did all that scrimmaging, Tepper was at practice. That was the first practice we've seen him at.
Was Vi Lyles there? No, don't answer that. I'm just joking, man.
Hey, I have an interesting quote. Basically, I was told the Rock Hill thing was pushed back a year to 2023 when it be completed. Nick Carboni tweeted on the Rock Hill headquarters, simply said, "It's going to be something to see. It's going to be something to see again. If you like the Avengers, it'll be like the Avengers headquarters."
That's what he said. He said on the broadcast during FanFest that it'll look like the Avengers headquarters.
I mean that sounds.
What's wrong with that though?
Like, all the Avengers died in the. We remember that, right?
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry.
Hey, I
was waiting on you.
I mean, I'm just saying that's not a good analogy. The Avengers headquarters did get destroyed.
That was the worst analogy possible, dude. Because that was the first thought I had. I was like, well, I hope we go have some different results than the Avengers did. So,
hey,
cool,
I
guess, man.
I want to address one of the questions that was asked in the chat about Joe Brady. A lot of people think he's going to eventually make the jump to the NFL head coach. Where does that leave the Panthers? We saw with the previous regime that we had a great young offensive coordinator who left and at the beginning of Cam Newton's career, and we were never happy with his
oh boy.
Even though we went to a Super Bowl, but fans were never quite that happy with the job he did. So if Brady were to leave next season, well, first of all, let me ask, does the offense look any different? I know that they didn't have this kind of preseason and offseason last season, but does there look like any evolution in what Joe Brady is doing with the team? Like, is he running Christian McCaffrey, 5 times a series, or is a lack of continuity going to be an issue with the Panthers if Joe Brady were to leave?
I do see more balance in the plays that they're running. That doesn't mean that'll translate to games because for some reason people feel like Christian McCaffrey is just this crutch that this workhorse or this crutch that they can always go to. And I hope that doesn't happen this year. But last year when Christian did play, we saw that that's what happened. But I have seen in offensive series, they've been getting the ball around more. I'm not on this Joe Brady train yet. I just haven't seen enough from him. I get that every league, the NFL is a copycat league. So everybody's trying to reincarnate the next Sean McVay. And I think that if the Panthers have a winning season and the offense is even just a little bit better than it was last year, Brady will probably be gone for that very reason. That being said, I don't see where he's this offensive genius where he wouldn't be able to be replaced. Right. So that's how I feel about that. I personally would like to see them air the ball out more. And that's just my personal observation. We do see some long passes, not enough though. And the last thing I think this team needs to do is to get into another mode where they start checking down. We heard about check down Teddy last year. And, I don't want Darnold to get in the habit of doing that. Steve Smith said on the broadcast that he hates check downs. Check downs is kind of like a cop out, Say that's the worst thing you can do as a quarterback is check down. With all of the talent that they have on offense, like if Darnold, he has the arm strength, just chuck that thing up there, like and let your receivers make plays. I would like to see more of that and during this training camp, and maybe hopefully we'll see more of that during the season. But So that's one observation about that. But as far as Joe Brady, he seems to be mixing the ball up more. But I don't see any type of real like, whoa, he's doing this with the offense. No, I haven't seen anything that's made me that has given me any pause.
Man, I thought he was a genius. Oh man, God darn it! Just finally, you mentioned Christian McCaffrey. Are they using Chuba Hubbard like that, or?
Yeah, he's been in there. He's had his moments, but also, I don't know how much they'll sub him in. I think that Christian will be the workhorse.
So 50 touches a game again for Christian
McCaffrey. Into the ground.
Yeah, let's run this guy into the ground.
I hope not. I really hope not. But I don't really see Carolina being a two-back system like we've seen in the past with kind of like D'Angelo and Davis.
Stu.
Stu. Yeah, D'Angelo and Stu. Like, I actually like that two-back system, that fire and ice like they had that time.
And that's why I thought they drafted a guy like Chuba Hubbard. I thought he was going to be the power guy, the goal line situation guy. While
I don't
Christian,
see that,
that to me is, I don't know. Then why even draft a guy like that? You know what I mean? But
I think somebody said insurance. Anthony said insurance. It's
okay. Well.
Didn't somebody's wife wanted Chuba? Let me quit. Okay.
Let's move on,
what happened?
No. We're not going to go there.
Please, I'm in the dark.
After the show.
So the word was that Matt Rule's wife, she's an Oklahoma State alum.
Okay.
But she wanted Chuba. She told him about Chuba, and he took Chuba.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great draft strategy there.
Yeah, man.
You don't even really have a GM.
My wife went to the University of South Carolina, and that's why we drafted J.C. Horn. Okay, so
a bunch of people that just make decisions, and they all agree.
Hey, man, look, I want to work for the Panthers one day, so we're gonna stop talking about them. So we'll talk about the Hornets, man. So it's been an eventful week, and I would like Jamal Kaiser and Vashti to share their thoughts about the trading of Devonte Graham, a restricted free agent.
I will go first, man. Losing Devonte Graham.
Hold on. I'm gonna give you the framework.
Let me
back traded Devonte for a protected first that conveys into 2 seconds if they miss the playoffs this year. Wesley Iwundu and the draft rights to Tyler Harvey.
All right. Losing Devonte Graham sucks. However, I could not justify the Charlotte Hornets paying him anything over $10 million a year, which he got in New Orleans. Devonte Graham was the heart and soul of this team. You know, we loved what he gave Charlotte, man. All of his hard work, his energy. He was a guy who could organize the offense, and he's a guy when he gets hot, man, he's really dangerous when he gets hot, but you always worried about consistency with Devonte Graham. And when he left at that point in time, I told y'all, there was a big hole with backup point guard, and this was before the Ish Smith signing, what have you. To get that kind of haul for a guy that you drafted in the second round, I don't see what the complaint is. I'm sorry. To get that kind of return for Devonte Graham, you can't really ask for much more. This fan base has been clamoring for a GM to, upgrade talent, get us more assets, everything you could think of. Mitch Kupchak did that with this one move. Now we're going to get to the other moves in a minute. I'm not even talking about the other stuff. But with this Devonte Graham deal, to get back possibly 2 picks and a player for a guy that you drafted in the second round, what more could you ask for?
Yeah. So, I was wrong on this one. I really thought the Hornets would retain Devonte Graham because they had the cap space to do so. However, there was a report that came out from a source that has been seen as fairly unreliable in the Twitter circles.
Yeah, he's bad.
But he did make a tweet that the Hornets had planned to retain Devonte Graham by matching any offers that he got, and that Devonte himself went to the Hornets front office and asked to be either let go on free agency or traded because he didn't like his diminished role behind LaMelo Ball. I guess I could kind of see that because Devonte Graham, he started for us the season previous, and I think he feels like he's a starter-level NBA player, and he is. His splits as a starter, 16, 6, and 3. That's starter level in today's league. However, I don't know if I really believe that. I never got any indication. Now, granted, we aren't like really close to the locker room, but I never got any indication that he was unhappy with his role in backing up LaMelo Ball. He seemed very accepting that he was going to come and lead the second offense, and that's the player he was going to be. So I don't know if I necessarily believe that report that Devonte wanted to be let go if he was going to be a backup. But at the same time, I do find it odd that the Hornets did not match. I really do. And the sign and trade was kind of like, okay, well, if we're going to let you go, then we need something in return. And we got to deal with New Orleans. And like Jamal said, to get all these assets for, a second round pick, who was a G leaguer, by the way, think about what the Hornets did. They flipped Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to Miles Bridges and Devonte Graham. Devonte Graham comes in the league. He goes to the G League. He comes out, has a breakthrough sophomore season, most improved player candidate, quality NBA starter, and then you're able to trade him for assets. I mean, isn't that what teams are supposed to do? You build up, you develop guys, and if they don't work out, then you get more assets for them. I mean, Mitch Kupchak knows what he's doing, and it's really hard to find fault in the way Mitch Kupchak is building this team. He has said, my job here is to make sure every season the roster is better than it was the previous season. And losing Devonte Graham hurts, but there's a method to the madness. I really do think that part of making the roster better.
Hey, and real quick, man, if there was a problem with Devonte Graham's diminished role because he's playing behind LaMelo Ball, that's too damn bad. That's LaMelo Ball, man. Sorry. Hey, man, have a nice career, buddy. But we got something special, man. So.
Yeah, I think Devonte knew. Everyone in the locker room could see how special LaMelo Ball was. That's why I don't think Devonte complained at all when he lost his starting spot to injury. You never like to see. There's NFL and NBA coaches feel like you should never lose your starting spot due to injury. But in this case, it was, once LaMelo started, it was clear. Well, he's never going to the bench. And I think Devonte Graham knew that. So I could see Devonte, like Chris says in the chat, he has a chance to start in New Orleans.
More power to him.
Leaving, it's possibly going to be a better fit for him there.
Yeah. Right. And so we signed Ish Smith, Charlotte-born, Concord raised Ish Smith to a 2-year, $9.23 million deal. I think that second year has an option as our backup point guard. Is that enough?
I'm going to tell you why it could possibly be enough. Because what this does is it gives the opportunity for LaMelo Ball to finally get all the minutes that his fan says that he deserves last year. So if LaMelo's playing starters minutes and you got Ish Smith coming off the bench only giving you 10 to 15 minutes, why wouldn't it work out? Ish Smith is a Hornets killer, by the way. He's the guy that always kills us when he plays us. And he's been a solid point guard for a long time in this league. He's played for 12 different teams, man. Yeah. But he's a pro's pro, man. And I think a backer role in this team is like a perfect fit for Ish Smith. So I think it could work out well for us, man. I do.
Borrego made a statement this week that he had a bunch of kids running around. That he needed some vets.
Look at Vashti's face.
He said that?
He said that.
He said that. They a bunch of children running around. They're all like 19.
Which is true.
Which is true.
I mean,
I don't know if I put it like that, though.
He said it jokingly. He said it jokingly.
I mean, he was kind of tongue in cheek, but Borrego has been like that. He's never held his tongue on what he thought about the team composition. Like this comments he made about trying to find a center. Like, hey, I've been waiting 3 years for the Hornets.
You looking at Hotel and Job on the bench. You say that,
right? Yeah. So, but he was right. The Hornets don't really have any veteran leadership. Ish Smith has played for 12 different NBA.
And it's also important to know Terry Rozier pretty much said the same thing without, saying it as tongue-in-cheek as Borrego did.
Exactly, yeah. So, you got a guy. I think people kind of discount the impact that Tony Parker had in the lone season he was here. Now, we didn't make the playoffs, and that was very sad, but you could see a difference in the team with Tony Parker out there. There were some times where Tony Parker saved our butt because Kemba Walker was just so tired from having a back team. Malik Monk said that too, that there was no better. Yeah, no, that's
goodbye.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
The Ish Smith signing, I like it as far as backup point guards go. It's never hurts to have a veteran and come in and teach some of these guys. I don't know what LaMelo Ball could learn from Ish Smith from a basketball standpoint, but I'm sure he could teach a lot of guys in his locker room how to be a pro.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So look, I'm gonna read this Malik Monk comments, and I want Vashti's opinion on these comments. Malik Monk says he was drawn into signing with the Lakers by the franchise and environment, in part by a desire to learn how to be a pro after being on teams dominated by younger players in Charlotte. Was that shade?
I mean, a little bit of shade. Malik Monk's time in Charlotte has not been easy, I mean,
some of this is his own doing, though.
Absolutely.
Oh, I wouldn't say some.
Yeah, most of it is his own doing. So yeah, it hasn't been an easy time, and he hasn't met the expectations that he had coming in, and it may be a little shade, but there's truth in that as well. Yeah. He's going to the Lakers. He's going to team up with LeBron and AD.
No. He's not going to team up with those guys. He will be.
He'll be on the team. He'll be on the team. Yeah. He'll be on the team with these guys, but absolutely, it'll be a different experience than being with the Hornets, and I'm sure he will learn a lot from it. So there's a bit of shade in it, but there's some truth in it as well. I'm not mad at the comment.
When you're a lottery pick, you come to a team full of youngsters because the team that's why you're a lottery pick. The team sucks. That's why the Hornets are able to pick you with the ninth pick. Malik Bridgewater. I don't know if I go that far, man. That's kind of. But a lot of people were saying, well, what do you expect Malik Monk to say? I expect him to say, hey, I want to thank the Charlotte Hornets for taking a chance on me and standing by me.
Time and time again.
Exactly, with my problems. Well, one of the things a lot of people don't realize about the drug program suspension was that Malik Monk was playing while he was in the drug program. Because he came forward himself and didn't test positive on the test initially. That's why he was not suspended initially. He was allowed to keep playing, even though he had gone to the team and said, hey, I'm doing some hard stuff here. And he saw an increase in playing time. He was averaging 25 minutes a game in the time from the All-Star break to the time that he got suspended. 25 minutes a game is what Borrego was giving him while he was in the drug program, and he failed. I don't really want to hear anything Malik Monk has to say about, what kind of organization the Hornets was. The Hornets actually, and we've said this before, they had the right to cut him after he failed the drug program without any cap hit. That was as part of the CBA. The Hornets could have said, you know what? We don't want you on the team. Get out of here. And they would have recouped $4 million a year. They chose not to. And that's what Malik Monk has to learn as a pro. He's got to take some responsibility and have some humility. And hopefully he'll learn that from, Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James, in LA. But
now who's being
I caught all of that.
But to imply that, he couldn't learn how to be a pro because there was a bunch of young guys running around.
I mean, and that's a clear slap in the face to Kemba, Marvin,
Tony,
Howard, Tony Parker,
Cody, Dwight.
Yeah.
Dwight Howard. Well, let's leave Dwight out of this for now. Because boy, oh boy, I don't want to talk about professional and Dwight Howard here in Charlotte, but that's another story for another day.
Hey man, stop doing that, man. Don't do that.
I'm sorry. All right, but here's my thing, man, and I'm sorry for any children or sponsors who are listening to this, but I don't want to hear this shit from Malik Monk. I don't, man. Dude, there were two. He played, just like we alluded to. He played with too many veterans who were pros for him to make that statement. And to me, it was just him talking out of his ass, dude. Like, look, for all the reasons we just said, the Hornets have stuck by him through thick and thin. Michael Jordan, Mitch Kupchak, Rich Cho, all these guys gave him multiple opportunities to succeed here in Charlotte. He did not take the best advantage of it. Man, good luck in LA, man. Good luck getting the ball from LeBron and Westbrook and everybody else.
You don't mean that, Jamal.
Have at it, man. I'm sick of hearing about Malik Monk this week. I am. I'm over this dude.
You know what? I think the Hornets are too nice to players.
No,
yeah, I mean, think about it.
I'm gonna take a step back. Let's take a step back. Like, I've heard that they've been kind of cruel in a way with some things, but we'll talk about that off camera. But yeah, it's a delicate balance that they haven't mastered. Let's just put it like that.
Okay, I'll certainly buy that. It's just that with Malik Monk, I never got that the team didn't like him. Michael Jordan loved Malik Monk. I don't care what anybody said. We've never seen Michael Jordan interact on the court like that with any other player in the history of the franchise. As long as Michael Jordan's been associated with Charlotte basketball, like he has with Malik Monk. He's out there treating him like his little brother or something like that. You have the greatest basketball player of all time in your corner, and you're going to be like, well, no one was there to teach me how to be a pro.
Just stop, man. Let's move on to people who matter. Let's move on to basketball players who actually matter and play for the Charlotte Hornets now.
Okay. We signed Kelly Oubre, who is a social media star. The ladies call him Tsunami Poppy, to a 2-year, $25 million deal. Expect to see weird comments on things we post.
Hey, that's a win for light-skinned dudes everywhere. I'm really proud.
Kelly Oubre, welcome to Light Skin Nation. Welcome.
Are you light skinned, Jamal?
Oh, don't even try that. Don't even try that. You see this big old head reflecting off this camera. Don't try that.
Twitter had a ball with that, with all of the guys on the team saying you just can't bring your girl to the Hornets game this coming season.
Oh yeah,
too many light skinned guys with light eyes.
Yeah, can't do that in Charlotte no more.
And speaking of light skin, they waived a light skinned guy named Caleb Martin.
Always a trade off.
So to even the balance, and
you can't have too many.
Can't have too many.
And then finally, we extended Coach James Borrego, which was needed, and is going to cap off a wonderful offseason by the Hornets.
I don't know why y'all like Borrego so much.
Hey! We're not doing that here.
Okay.
We're not doing it here.
All right.
No.
First of all, with the new contract, I can't wait to the first press conference because his joint gonna be
dog. That shape up is gonna be elite. Wow. You hear me?
Perfect lineup. Nobody knows. Danny Thompson, if you can find out where JB gets his haircut, let me know.
Let me know, man. I need that in my life.
But I'm happy with the Borrego re-signing. I feel like you have to give him a chance to finally play the team that he has built and developed. This was finally the remnants of the Cho regime are finally gone with Biombo and Cody Zeller and Malik Monk gone. That's it. This is now fully Mitch Kupchak and James Borrego's team. So now he has a chance to see what he can do with it. And I think that he has earned that. James Borrego, now to be fair, he's had some missteps because essentially he's a rookie head coach. He was a rookie head coach when the Hornets brought him on. So, you have to let coaches get their footing, and this will be his fourth season, and I think he found it. I mean, the Hornets would have been a playoff team last season if Gordon Hayward, Malik Monk, Miles Bridges, Devonte Graham, just start naming people. If they hadn't all got injured at the same time.
The trainer, Michael, all of them.
I don't know. Those you need one game to make the playoffs, and you lose five in a row. Like that's coaching.
Yeah.
I mean, you need one game.
That's playing Caleb Martin starters minutes.
That one game.
Speaking of
Come
that,
on.
Rodney. Speaking of that, Kaiser. And speaking of that, Vashti, of that one game where you had to play your twins 35 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Mitch Kupchak alluded to the fact that the main reason why the Hornets did not make ultimately make the playoffs is because they did not have enough talent to sustain all of the injuries. The main thing we've been hearing from Mitch Kupchak all offseason, even before the season somewhat, he's been saying we need to infuse more talent on this team. It is my job to upgrade the talent on this team because the main reason we didn't get where we wanted to go is because of injuries and we did not have enough talent to back it up. To Rodney's point, you cannot play Caleb and Cody Martin 30 minutes a game and expect to beat any of those teams that were in contention for that same playoff spot that we were looking for. I don't know what the record was when Gordon Hayward actually played, but the record when he played tells us a whole lot, especially when we were in the 4th seed while he was the starter on the Charlotte Hornets. He gets injured and it all falls apart. It's not a coincidence.
The Great White Hope.
Well, whatever he is, Mitch Kupchak knows that he can't go down.
Him as light skin. I claim Gordon Hayward is light skin.
That's a stretch, buddy.
Not with that haircut. No.
He gets some throws in there. He can be part of the team. But the Hornets lacked depth, and I think with moving Caleb Martin off the team, bringing in Kelly Oubre, bringing in Ish Smith, I think we have a little bit more depth than we had before. I think the Hornets, from a talent standpoint, are a whole lot better than they were last season because losing Devonte Graham but picking up Kelly Oubre kind of offsets each other. But drafting Book Knight, Kai Jones,
right.
I think if those guys develop the way we think that they will, then the Hornets will be much, much, much better.
And real quick, the statement behind the extension with Borrego's contract was they really like the way that he has developed our players. So contrary to popular belief of some of our fans who are saying that the coaches have no, they play no part in player development. It seems to be a myth according to Mitch Kupchak. So
all right,
there you have it.
Well, that's why the Hornets hired him. 4 years ago, they said, we want someone who can come and develop players because Steve Clifford wasn't doing that. And that's what he's done. Even if he may not have always made the best coaching decisions, he's done exactly what the Charlotte Hornets have asked him to do. So now they're going to ask him, okay, you developed these guys. Now let's see what you can do.
Right,
and real quick, Summer League, 6 o'clock, NBA TV, Hornets and Spurs. Check it out.
Yep. And before we move on, I'm going to say this. PJ Washington is going to have a killer year. That bounce back is something else. Once you get played, you play hard. Okay.
Wait.
He tried to hurry up and cut it off.
No.
Vashti jumped in.
Come on. Do we know that happened for real?
He said it.
Suckers get licked every day.
You talking about the deleted tweet?
No. I don't even know the deleted tweet.
Yeah, I have no knowledge of that. I'm just talking about.
He said,
being a
girl
sucker.
played him."
I believe. Look,
she wrote a book, Vashti. Come on now.
No. Part of that is his old heads didn't tell him about, like, hey man, look, stay clear of this, or he just didn't want to listen. I mean, it's unfortunate. Suckers get licked every day.
Oh my gosh.
Let's go to shoutouts.
Real quick, Laurie Markkinen.
I saw that.
Rodney, what you got on that? Because you seem to be the most informed on that.
I'm thinking if they get him, it's going to be for the full mid-level exception. 3 years, I think 27 to 28 million, which would be a pretty good steal.
Now,
coming off the bench.
Question behind it. Let's say that happens. Are we definitively a more talented team than we were from last season?
We're a deeper team. I mean, it's to me. What's interesting is we have more tradable contracts.
Yeah.
The 8 million range, Plumlee, Pretty Boy with 12.5. Lori with 9, Ish with 4. Those are movable pieces, and we still have our own draft picks, and so it can all be part of a plan to upgrade the team in the future.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to shoutouts. I'm gonna start it off first, man. I want to say rest in peace to our longtime viewer, Steplin Gray, aka 704 Charlotte Bound.
Yeah, sad stuff, man.
Sad stuff, man. He passed away a couple of days ago. Crazy thing is, he was even commenting in the group the day before he passed. He would always share our stuff, reach out, comment in the comment section, man. And we're gonna miss you, man. And he was a true Charlotte guy through and through, man. We even went to school together. I didn't even realize it. But man, just RIP to you. And then shout out to Kimball Walker for going back to New York. You got out there, man. Which is known as Oklahoma City. You're gonna be a Knick, and you're not gonna make the playoffs either.
Boy, shots fired.
Hey, y'all salty.
All right, I'll go next, man. Shout out to Alex and Felix, man, who won her 10th medal in the Olympics over the weekend, man. And I it's just really funny how I don't see her all over my timeline and all over the news. That's interesting, but that's another kind of conversation for another day. Shout at the men's track team who isn't worth a crap and who doesn't even qualify. They are terrible. And shout out for Carl Lewis for calling it out, because that is absolutely unacceptable, man. Shout out to Vashti for coming on, man. Thank you for coming on. You always it's always an added pleasure for you to come on our show. You bring so much to us, man. So don't forget about us when you get big, because you know how you do. Shout out to any new fans we have in the chat today, man. Thank you for coming on. Please like, share, subscribe. John, thank you for coming on, man. Shout out to everybody who's continuing to like and support Under Construction, man. So shout out to y'all.
Shout out to Tarek Hamedi. I hope I pronounced that right. From Saudi Arabia. He is an Olympian competing in point karate, which is the first year that point karate, full contact karate, has been in the Olympics. And the reason I'm shouting him out is because he knocked his opponent out and lost the gold medal because of that. Point karate, knocking your opponent out, is illegal, which is the dumbest thing I have ever heard in any sport ever. In the gold medal match, it would have been the first ever gold medal for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. His opponent accidentally walked into a kick, made the kick a lot harder than it should have been, knocked his opponent out. His opponent couldn't get up. They deemed the kick too hard, and he got the silver medal. So his opponent got knocked out and won a gold medal. How that makes sense to me is that it just doesn't. But Tarek Hamedi, as like a true martial artist, he respected the judges and the referee's decision, bowed and accepted his medal with grace. Hopefully the Olympics gets this right. If combat sports are the only Olympic sports I watch, and hopefully they get this right if they want to keep point karate, which I think is stupid anyway, but if they want to keep it as an Olympic sport. Also, another shout out to Bill Simmons has a documentary series on HBO Max called Music Box. The first episode was on Woodstock 99. Go watch that. It's absolutely insane. And I remember wanting to go to Woodstock 99, but I joined the military, and I'm glad I served in a war, and I would have rather have done that than gone to Woodstock 99 than after watching that documentary. Absolutely crazy point in as far as pop culture history, and I think a lot of what happened there kind of permeates down to our current social economic situation in the United States.
All right, Vash, I got a quick shout out.
Asia Wilson and the women's USA basketball team. Asia has dominated women's basketball the last 4 years. Let's see what NCAA champion, #1 draft pick, rookie of the year, WNBA MVP, killed it in the Olympics. from Columbia, South Carolina. Her grandfather was actually the pastor of my family church. So shout out St. John Baptist Church. So yeah, shout out Asia Wilson.
All right. Well, guys,
hey, a lot of new guys in the chat today. I want to thank you guys.
Come back and see us, please.
Come back to see us. Thank you guys so much for watching. Shout out to the Kevin Durant slanderers. They did win the gold medal. Peace out.
Shout out to Kevin Durant calling out Perkins.
Yeah, that was weird.
Perkins doesn't need to be